Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm so glad to be back. Yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks with the Godot jam, and my girlfriend's kind of going through her finals of this year of medical school right now. So I'm really excited to finally be back on stream. As always, I'm going to be trying to listen to the chat. Did I just close it? I think I did, because I'm a fool. Why would I do such a thing? Yep, I did. Trying to keep the chat open, but it's like not very easy to get that. But now I can check it out from live here, but let's go ahead and do this. I need to go here, open link a new tab. See, it's not a fantastic process. Oh, no. Go create, go live. Sorry about that, don't want to appear as an old. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drop this over on my other monitor here. And bada bing, bada boom, we're in here. Dev Nugget, what's going on? Like the name, a little Dev Nugget. Okay. Yeah, so if no one's got any actual questions, I'm gonna start diving into some stuff today. We're gonna go through my Discord first, but I don't think there's any questions in here. Then Rungeons, and then I'm gonna hop over to the Godot Q&A and just kind of run through the ones that I think are doable on stream, teachable moments, stuff like that. Feel free to ask me anything you want, and I'll do my best to answer. I'm much better at 2D. In fact, I know very little to nothing about 3D, but a lot of the stuff transcends what dimension you game dev in. So hopefully I'll be able to like help out with a lot of that stuff as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. I haven't even opened up Godot here in a while, but this is cool, man. Very excited. If you don't know about the Godot Jam, it was definitely a very cool experience here. I made that game Solenoid, which was an awesome. I really loved what I did. I'm probably going to continue that game and try to publish it along with the Godot gamepad here. Oh, I didn't make a new directory. Let's do that. A new folder, and this is going to be QA session 06 underscored June 14th. 21, just in case. Okay, cool. And that went in the right place, so that's good. All right, anyway, let's go ahead and hop in here. So I'm gonna check out my Discord real quick. There should be a link to join it in my channel, but if not, I'll drop it in if anyone's interested. And so, yeah, this guy had a question about type hinting, but is solved, and that's also something I wouldn't even recommend doing. This was actually pretty cool. So this is something I used in my game. If we go ahead and I load up Solenoid here, I can show you. So if we play, two things are happening. One is like, if you can hear the engines, they're reacting to how fast you're going, and the sound is changing, right? And so I kind of have to play through a lot in order to get to the point that I want to show you. So I guess I'll just quit this right now and show you the code here. But essentially, one thing I'm doing is I'm lerping the pitch scale depending on my velocity, which is really, really cool, and that's how I get that effect. But the other thing that you can do is that, for me, I don't want to figure out the listener 2Ds or anything like that, because there is no listener, and the audio stream player 2Ds seem to not work very well for me. So I just coded it in myself by doing this. So essentially, we just check the distance to the target, and then we divide whatever our max radius is by the distance to that target, clamp it between 0 and 1, and then we lerp our volume between a low and a high based upon that value. So essentially, if they're really close to you, it'll be louder, and if they're really far away from you, it'll be quieter, which is just kind of a cool little effect to have in your game. But anywhozer, now I want to go ahead and actually start answering some questions. We'll check and jump into Rungeons here. If you don't know who Rungeon is, he's freaking awesome. He makes a lot of tutorials as well, and his Discord is popping. Like, people are talking nonstop. Really nice community. Honestly, my Discord kind of sucks because like people don't really chat. This is cool. Some guy posted something. Let me add a reaction here. I like that. I hope he interprets that as a good thing. But Rungeons is popping, dude. People are posting nonstop. Lots of people will help you in here. Lots of really cool. Azagaya is in here. He's dope. But yeah, anyway. So I think there's a help in here. We can check that out. Madhava Prasath, great guy. Okay, nothing. We'll hop into here then. No one's got anything to say on stream, so let's go ahead and start writing or answering some of these, which I love. Get size of children node, okay. Someone already answers, well, control nodes have rect size and size, but I think you should use the expand size flag instead of trying to manually separation between them. Okay, I want to get the size of all nodes in C, how to do that. I have 3 children in Hbox container, so I want to put first children on left side, second children in the middle, and the last one on the right. I want to put separation between them according to the screen width. Please tell me. Extends Hbox container. So I'm actually doing a lot with control nodes, and they're not like the most intuitive thing in Godot, but in making a lot of stuff, I'm making a calendar app. I'm also making a Godot gamepad that is like, I have to create all these control nodes entirely from code because I have to send that over from your computer to your phone. And so I have to send that all in like a string format, and then we take that string format and build that into a control node. But yeah, so what this guy is saying, you don't want to manually do stuff. I was trying to do that, but you want to kind of utilize the fact of what Hbox containers do. So just like, because this will be really helpful if anyone's making a main menu or something like that, I do want to quickly kind of go over like the basics of containers and size flags, because I didn't understand what they were for a little bit. So we'll make a user interface here. And so this is just going to be a basic control node. And then in this, we might have some things, for instance, like I'll go ahead and add a Vbox container. And if you don't know what a Vbox container is, and then here I'll go ahead and click, we'll do full rect, and then I am going to shrink this, should be, there we go. So it's like kind of more in the center here. And a Vbox container will automatically sort nodes based on the child number in order down this thing. So we can go ahead and add some labels here. And then I'll put like hello. Oh, we can't adjust the scale. Do I have fonts in here? Let's see. Let's do new dynamic font, just for example purposes. There we go, JetBrains Mono. Cool, cool. And then I can change the size here to like ×3, something a little bigger. And then we'll go ahead and center these guys. Cool. And then I'll go ahead and duplicate this a few times. And you can see that automatically what this is doing is spacing these out for you. But they're not spacing out all the way to the bottom and whatnot. There's things you can do that. So for one thing, we can adjust the separation in the custom contents here. So if you go to the Vbox container, you can, this is aligning them at the begin, this is aligning them at the center and the end, as you'd expect. Okay. We can also do something pretty cool by going into the custom contents and changing the separation between the nodes. So you can see if we set this as 0, it's going to make this as small as possible. If we set this as 100, it's going to separate them by that amount. And if you want them, for instance, to separate exactly when you resize the screen, for instance, what we do, I'm going to go ahead and delete these labels here. We'll grab the first one, and you go down to the size flags, and we're going to go ahead and select expand on horizontal and vertical. And what this will do is make it so that this will expand to fill whatever space that it's put in. Now if we duplicate this, you can see that they're automatically going to sort themselves as evenly as possible throughout the container. And I'll go ahead and save this. We need to go to QA sessions. This is the newest one. Freaking folder, UI. Explanation. Okay, control, cool, whatever. And now if I run this scene, what should happen, yeah, you can see that they are resizing to fill up exactly the size of the screen there. So I should actually probably go ahead and toss this in there, the link. Insert this live on stream. There you go. Cool. Because I have a feeling this guy would learn very well from that. But anyway, that's why you want to do that. And then also, just to be clear here, so if we make these and then, I don't know, yeet, and then we go ahead and delete these, because he's got 3 labels and he wants to separate them like this. Let's change this. You can go to change type, where is change type? There we go. Let's change this to a Hbox. Because that's what he wants to do, right? Again, I'll go ahead and make this full rect. And that's important, right, is that we make this container full rect. We, in fact, don't even need this control here for doing what we're doing, but I typically do it that way. And then we've got these 3 labels. And so he says he's got one he wants on the left, one he wants in the middle, and the last one on the right. So here you can see that they are sorting by their position in the container. So if we move this down here, it's going to put it in the center. And if we move this label to the bottom, it's going to put it on the end. So that's how you would do it. And then again, if we go ahead and run this, you can see that if I resize the screen, it's going to resize them to be equally distant by whatever separation constant you have put in here. So if we go here, custom constants separation, and we set this to like 20, okay? You can see that affects it a little bit, and the other thing is that now when we run this, it shouldn't let them go, yeah, so it's gonna stop. Once we hit that minimum separation, it'll stop resizing and stuff like that. You can adjust the scale of things, but like let's say if you wanted this to get smaller, the letters to get smaller, you would have to adjust that manually. And then for that, you can get a little more complicated stuff I don't really want to get into right now, but you can go into the control node thing and go to resized, okay? And whenever this is resized, you can then notify the script and then go through all your children and go ahead and change their size. And the way you would do that is with a simple, here, let's rip that real quick because it's actually not that complicated. So we'll go ahead and go here and we'll connect the resize signal right there. And then what I'll do here is we'll say on ready var children equals get underscore children, okay? And what this will do is it'll give you an array or list of all your children that you can access, right? So this will return to us an array with these labels. And then what we'll do is we'll say on resized, we'll say, I don't know, something like for child in children, and then we could do something like resize them. So I don't want to do too much here, but so whatever our rect size is right now, let's go to rect 1920. We'll do X, right? So 1920. So we'll say constant rect. Well, this should be rect size max, and this will be underscore X. We can just put like X. Now we'll do underscore X. And then we'll say that equals 1920. And then what we'll do here, or I guess we could actually calculate this right here, is we'll say that var new underscore size equals we're gonna do our rect underscore max size X divided by rect underscore size. Okay, just like that. So this will divide our max size by our, we want to do dot X here. So we just grab the X value. Okay, so we're gonna divide this, let's make this a float too, just so we don't have any weird errors. And yeah, so this will divide this by our current rect size. So if we are at our max rect size, right, this will return 1. And if we're smaller, if this number gets smaller, then this number will then get smaller. Now there might be some other things you want to do to make this a little more optimized, but now we can say for child and children, we can say lerp, and then we can say child dot, I don't know, we want to say right here, child dot, okay. It actually is a teensy bit complicated because we can't adjust the scale because of how these work, right? So if you adjust the scale from, like you can see right here, it won't let me adjust the scale. If I go into here and I change the rect scale, for instance, to like a little more than that, it should, I think, reset that scale when I run the game or something. Oh, it's, okay. Here, why didn't that work? Oh, no. Oh, okay. We'll just do this. We'll say if children. Because this is it's calling this before the game starts, which is kind of a pain, but whatever. Okay, yeah, so you can see that if you adjust the scale manually, it's not going to let that fly. It's going to revert that back. Oh, and now it's like perma fucked up? What? Is that the wrong one? Yes, it is, that's why. Okay, cool. So yeah, so what we want to do is go into here to custom fonts. This might be different. You could potentially, you can't change the size or the scale. So you have to find some way. You can also put a label within another node and then you can resize it from within there. That's another way to do this. But for instance, here we've got the font size. So what we can do is say child dot set, and then we'll say custom underscore fonts, font, I believe it's custom fonts, font, and then just size. Yeah, custom fonts, font, size, okay? And then we're going to set it, or I guess to make this a little more clear, we'll say, I suppose we actually don't, yeah, we can do this here. So we can say var, oh no, we actually can just reuse the new size. We can say new size equals lerp, okay? Remember, lerp is a linear interpolation that takes between two values. Also, I'm getting into like some pretty complex stuff here. I don't know if this is what everyone is interested in. Hold on, what the hell? What's going on here? I don't think this is working. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. My, I don't know why, but my, my girlfriend need my help. My streaming software or whatever was not transmitting to YouTube, or it wasn't showing me, so I missed all your comments. Let's see here. Oh, I could totally do that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, you guys. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let's grab the Discord link. Well, no, I gotta do it this way. And then I'll go here, invite. Oh, Jesus Christ. My girlfriend is at the door and she has forgotten her keys. And that is the sound of a pug, just by the by. So I might have to go grab her right now. But when we get back, I'm actually gonna put this on hold for right now. And then what we'll do is go ahead and do what the chat wants to do, which is that glitch effect. This will take less than 10 seconds, so I apologize for this. Be back in a second. Yeah, all right, what's going on, everybody? Oh, that didn't feel good. I like ran down the hallway and yeah, kind of feel a little sick. But yeah, let's go ahead and go over how you did the glitch effect. It looks sick. Thanks, Diego. Okay, kind of the Discord server link. Oh yeah, so there's the Discord server link. Diego. Yeah, so a Vbox container will not, by default, move around any kind of other node other than a control, but you can kind of cheat it in a way that I found, which is to do something like this. So we'll do, I guess I want to do that in a second, huh? Here, let's hide this one for right now and I'll make a new Vbox so I can show you what I'm talking about. So we'll make a Vbox container here, and then I'll again we'll make this full rect. Okay, and here I'm gonna add a control. Well, here, I'll show you to illustrate the problem that Diego's talking about. We add you said touchscreen button, right? Yeah, okay, so we'll add the touchscreen button, and then we should probably go to the icon, PNG, just so we can see. So this is our touchscreen button. As you can see, it's not being aligned within it because it's not a control node. But all you have to do is actually just put a control and then make this a child of that control. And then when you move this around here, so it should work that, I don't know if I do, well here, let's do this. Let's paste these in here. Oh, that was working for me before. I guess it's not working anymore. That's a bummer. Yeah, let's do this. Let's change the rect min size here. Oh, this is something I totally forgot to go over. If you're doing a control like this, you can either set these size flags to expand like this, and that will make it so that like that, so that will take up as much space as possible, like I did before. But you can also just set the recommend size. So in this case, we'll get the icon, I think, is like 64 or something. So we'll make the recommend size in the Y 64 here. And then I'll go ahead and move this guy to be in the center, like somewhere about in the center. And of course, go into the transform property and do this. But I think I thought that should work. Maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, that works. Okay, yeah. So that's how you'd get around that. It's kind of a cheat. But this you have to position it manually in that control. But once you do, it's solid, right? So I've put this in the center there. We can go here and transform it, and like, so it's 1920 divided by 2. Oh, but minus 32. There we go. That's exactly centered. And I just did, so 1920 is my screen size, and then I subtracted half of the width of the icon, which is 64. So 1920 divided by 2 minus 32 is what I just did. And yeah. I made a to-do list app on my phone and manually stored every XY position and would move every object recursively. Dude, I feel you. I did the exact same thing in my calendar app. That's actually cool that you're doing that, because I'm making a calendar app, and then I also want to make a to-do list app to go with it. So I want to make it so that when you make it like something on your to-do list, it puts it in your calendar. I'm also going to have like, you have goals and objectives and stuff like that, so you can link those to those things, and like you can really kind of organize like your life, right? Like this task is working me towards this goal, and kind of like keeps that in mind. I probably won't publish it, but I'm gonna use it for myself. But yeah, that's like the cheat there. That's dope that I was able to help you, because that makes me feel good. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer, honestly, that touchscreen buttons are not control nodes. I honestly don't quite understand that. I bet you there's probably a issue raised in the Godot thing for, Produce Nugget. Dude, I don't know. Nugget's just like a great word, Dev Nugget. Okay, now you changed to Dev Nugget. I liked Produce Nugget, that's a good name. But anyway, yeah, this should definitely be a control node. There's probably an issue open on the Godot touch screen button as control proposal. Let's see. Okay, let's see what they have to say, because some guy asked exactly what we're talking about. Why? Because all their nodes are descendants control Y touchscreen. Use containers, use button. The main difference between node 2D and control is positioning. The same reason why you'd want to use sprite instead of text sprite. Is needed the normal button should do in touch events. I have found that I have to use the touchscreen button. Touchscreen button is different in control because it does not compute the input. It just activates when you slide the finger. That's why you want the touchscreen button, because you can't on a normal button. It doesn't register the slides and some of those interesting behaviors. Anyway, yeah, I have used those buttons several times. Oh, Diego, what's going on? Dev Nugget. Yeah, so like I can actually let's do this. I'll show you something pretty interesting. Let's delete this now. Okay, and then Godot code, Godot gamepad, where are you? Okay, and then it should be on the gamepad client. There we go. There we go. I don't know why, I get lost in my own projects so hard. So anyway, this is like, I don't know if you've seen this. This was kind of blown up like a few months ago on the Godot Reddit, and then I've kind of dropped off, and I've recently started to work on it again. And essentially, what this does it's a controller that you can play It's a controller you can play Godot games with. So like you literally just open this up on your phone. It connects to your computer automatically when you hit the connect button. So you don't have to put in an IP address, is my point. And then you can control any game with your phone as a controller, which I think is really cool. But anyway, so I guess this is not the right one. I wanted to go to, is it touch? Single loader touchscreen button. Okay, yeah. So here's how I did that in the exact same way. So here's a control node. I made the control node rect size exactly the size of that, and then the label is centered in that control. So here's that button. And so yeah, that's how I did that. Anyway, and it's definitely necessary to do it that way. But then everything works the way you'd expect it to work and stuff like that. But anyway, just thought I'd flex this because I'm gonna start putting out some more content on this soon. I basically already have it working, but I'm trying to add the ability to put like custom styles and stuff that you make in the editor. So the idea is that this is not just going to be a basic gamepad, but the idea is that you can customize it however you want as the it's gonna be free on the App Store eventually, as the game developer. So like if you just want, like you want 2 thumbsticks, you can put 2 thumbsticks on the controller. If you want 1 thumbstick or 1 D-pad, and then an A and a B button, you can do that. You can like customize the controller for what you need to your game, and then when people connect, this will like get the information of what controller you designed and display that for the user. And anyway, it's actually like mostly done in terms of basics. I want to get into some complex stuff like being able to send custom images over, which I already figured out how to do, but it takes a while to implement. And then also, what's the other big thing? Text input. So I want to have like, if you're doing like a text adventure game or even like, some kind of like a Jeopardy game, you can have people like everyone can join on their phone and then they can like type in their answers and submit them to you in like a text input format, which I think would be cool. But anyway, thanks, man. Applause, pop up, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, for the, yeah, I think it's private right now, but I don't really care, so I will totally open this up. If this is what you're talking about, let's, settings, change visibility, make public. You think I want to type that out, bro? You crazy. No, I'm gonna paste that. Okay. There's very few places where I actually remember my password. If I didn't have autofill, I'd be so fucked. Okay, cool. Let me drop this. So this is for that calendar if you want to check that out. It's funny because I'm using someone else's, some basic calendar classes, and then to get mine working, I had to change them quite a bit, but like I would be lost without them. Like really weird functions that return to you the day given some integer, and it's like, how the hell? And it's like the weirdest function you've ever seen, like just a bunch of random divisions that make no sense, but work for some reason. Anyway, yeah, okay. So I want to start, I'm gonna start pinning some comments up at the top because I want to make sure I get them. So have the glitch effect. I'm gonna pin this up by Diego here. Oh yeah, and then for today, so what I'll be doing, let's go ahead and do GitHub here, and then I want to get the, I just closed GitHub, yes I did, why'd I do that? I don't know. QA session. Ooh, I don't know why that scared me. It was a little horn, I don't know if it got picked up, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop this. This is the QA session, which I think is in the description, but these are all the QA sessions from the past, and then I'll go ahead and upload the one for today. And then you'll be able to do this. Let's go to QA sessions, and you can see we've already like got all the stuff in here and it doesn't, but I do wanna, I'll finish this later because I wanna get to what people are actually talking about. Okay, and then we have SK Sahil. Let's pin your comment. Oh, you can only pin one comment at a time. Okay. IK or FK armatures? Honestly, don't really know. Okay. Or FK armatures. I honestly don't know what that is. Like, what do those stand for? That can't be, you can't be talking about inverse versus forward kinematics. Bones are two separate armatures connected through bone constraints. Oh, you're talking about joints and stuff. I honestly, I don't even use joints. If that's what you're talking about in terms of animation, I don't. I just use like other stuff. I kind of just use the animation player and move stuff around, so can't help you too much there. Anyway, okay, so I want to get to SK Sahil. So how do you play, pause, pop up in the middle of screen? I kind of went into that a little. Yeah, I actually did do this already. So I'll show you that real quick, and then we'll get to going over the glitch effect. So QA session. So again, this is in the GitHub. I think it was this one. No, Laser Yehor. Was it really 3 sessions ago? Basic player, new pull them, slow time, pause menu, there we go. So I think it's in, let's see, slow time, sit, test world. Ah, yeah, wait, pause canvas layer, yes, okay. So the basic idea is like, so we've got this test world here, and we've got this script. So this is the pop-up. The pop-up is just simply, oh, I guess the pop-up is monitoring for this. You accept, show, pause menu. Yeah, show, get tree, pause equal true. So yeah, so essentially this is a pop-up that is monitoring itself. Well, I made it's not using a pop-up, it's using a color rect, but if it was, you would just overwrite the pop-up message. So essentially when we do this, instead of show, you would just play pop-up, and here you would say hide pop-up or whatever it is. So I monitor for input right here in the physics process. We hit the accept or whatever you want to put for your button that is the pause button. Then we do show pause menu, which will pop it up, and we'll also get tree.paused equal true, and this will pause the game. But you want to make sure that I think, okay, where is this? It's in, is it material? Oh, no, where is it? Pause mode, inherit, is it on here then? Yeah, there we go. So you want to go into whatever you want to act as your pause scene, and go down to here in the inspector in the bottom. It's just a pause mode, and change this to process. So I think by default everything is set to inherit, and by default the node above your root node is the viewport, which is set to just a pause, right? So everything in the tree will stop moving if you pause, except for anything you set to process. And then any children of this by default are set to inherit, so that way they'll all work as long as you have this guy set to process, which is the parent here. And all that means is that once we pause the processes of all these nodes and everything like that, what will happen is that these nodes will still run in those processes, but all the other processes will pause. But anyway, yeah, all that code and how this works is all in the description already, so go ahead and hop on that. Yeah, let's get into that glitch effect, and then I do eventually want to get into that. Have you tried 2D that is able to customize character? How to make customization while minimizing sprites of character by using shader? So if you mean by just coloring, then it would be like using a shader. Rungeon has a great little tutorial on doing exactly that. Whoa. Dude, I always thought the roller hog was so cool. I hate getting distracted, but that's sick. Okay. Jade the Kobold. Okay. What was it? It was there we go, cool. And then he's got a little tutorial, and oh, dude, he makes so much freaking content, it's insane. Maybe we'll just search shaders. Shader. Yeah, here we go. This is I think this is probably what you want. So you can do this, and you can see that you can change these things, and it'll change different parts of the sprite. So he makes a fantastic tutorial on how to. I'll go ahead and link this actually for you, if that's what you're talking about. If not, let me know if there's anything else you want to do, because I make I did do some other stuff like that for one of my other games where I had like a list of like preloaded. So I'd say like var images, right? Say equals this, and then I'd say like normal, and then go preload, and then we'd do the path to some image, and then we'd say like explosive, and we'd say preload, and then again the path to some. These need to be strings. What just happened there? Okay. And then we would need to preload. So this would be like a path to an image. So we'd say like, for instance, our icon.png, and then we would do 2 different ones. yeah, so these obviously be two different images, but then what you do is like in your ready function, you would get like the image class and then change the image. The other way you can do that is using regions or sprite sheets and stuff like that and flip through that. There's a lot of ways you can do that. If you want more help on that, let me know and I'll hop into that. So let's see, I think we're doing all right. Now I just want to get into doing the glitch effect that I did in my game, Solenoid. Oh, I don't actually want to get rid of that tab. Let's go ahead and hop into Solenoid. So there are like several glitch effects going on here. So I don't know which one, but they're all shaders. So all the glitch effects in this game are shaders. I don't know if you're still here, Diego, to specify which one you were talking about, but let's go ahead and just open up. Here, let's do this. Godot code. Where are you? Oh, it's because I called it the Godot Gem. Project files, and we'll open up the project here. Okay, now, so there's one glitch effect is like the fade in, fade out effect. You can see right there like that. The other glitch effect is when I shoot, you can see that more so if you look at the edges here, you can see that it is kind of displaying, or it's a chromatic aberration. It's changing the RGB color values and shifting them. And so anyway, that's one glitch effect. And they both do that. They're both two different shaders, but they do this differently. And I don't want to go too much into the shaders, but I will say that they're both linked right here. There's the link to my Solenoid game. I put all the shaders I use right here. So here is the chromatic aberration shader. That's the one for shooting. And then here, where is it? The transition glitch effect on GodotShaders.com. And that is how I did this, though mine is different. I'm not going to make the source code for this public, but I will absolutely share that shader if people are really interested. Yeah, so let's go, where is it? I think did I make a scene called Transitioner this time or no? Yeah, I did. Okay, so Transitioner, there we go. So if we go to this, it's a color rect. We made it full screen, and then it doesn't matter what the color is. And if we go down here to Material, Shader, and Transition, and go do shader params here, there's tons of different parameters we have to mess with here, but I'm only going to be messing with the pixel parameter, I think. The animation player here, we can see that it goes, well, you won't see anything right now because there's nothing behind it, but let's see. So we're moving. What is this? Why is it not saying the name of the property? Yeah, pixel, red offset, and blue offset. Okay, so we're shifting all of those things. We're shifting the pixel and the red and blue offset here. Let's go ahead and play that. Okay. Yeah, and so like you can just take my word for it that that's how the shader works. I honestly don't understand all of it too much. Because I'm not that great with shaders, that's why I use his shader, but I changed it because his shader did not work for being transitions and using the screen texture. So I changed it. I know enough about shaders. Sorry about this. Oopsies, there we go. A little bit of lag. Okay, cool. I know enough about shaders that I changed this to work on the screen. So this is exactly how that works. And this is a transitioner I made that's pretty specific, but yeah. I don't know. I think eventually I'll probably release this. I don't really care. I don't really want to make money off of any of my games, but I do need to make enough money to pay for hosting the Godot gamepad on the App Store. So, I don't know, you give and you take. Yeah, and the second I don't make enough money to host it from ads, then I have to take it down, which is a bummer because I want it to be a resource that other people can use it, but I'm not going to pay money to do that. I would hopefully the ad revenue it generates supports itself, and then I know anything extra, maybe I'll just donate it to the Godot contributors or something like that. Anyway, yeah, very cool. This is a really cool experience. So you can see it's 3D, and I'm looking at a viewport right here. If you look at the mesh instance is tilted by I think so -20 degrees. And so that's how I get, this is all 2D, but it looks, when we start here, it looks very 3D because we've got this crazy, like weird tilted perspective there. Anyway, but yeah. Okay, anyway, so that's that. And those are the links to those. Ew, dude, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you hopped in. If you want anything else explained, if that's all you needed, that's great. But I feel like I didn't get everything, so please, like, feel free. Like, no one's asking anything, so I'm happy to dive into anything else you've got. I will quickly jump into this real quick again because I want to show how you would do this. So, because I do this a lot. So the lerp, a linear interpolation, will lerp between a minimum value and a maximum value by this new size value, 1 through 0 or whatever. So we want, let's see, what size do we have these at? They're at 48. So we want the max size to be 48, right? And we want the minimum size, let's say, to be 12. Okay, and then we want what value? We want our new size value here. Okay, okay. Yep, there we go. Cool. And then you can clamp this if you want. Sometimes I clamp it because, you know, we don't want this to get too small, but this will never get bigger. Well, so this should only be between 0 and 1, right? If this gets really small, this will get really small, and thus we'll get towards this number. If we're equal to 1, right, meaning that our rect max size is equal to our current rect size, then we will be at 48. If we shrink the screen, it will do that. So now what we want to do is in here for children and children, we want to set this equal to our new size. Okay, so we calculate this only once, and then we set it for each of our children, and let's see if this works. So it does not look like it's working. Let's go ahead and print new size. Let's see, y1. Oh, it's getting bigger. That doesn't make sense. Am I dumb? What am I missing? Because this should be getting smaller, right? Yeah, that's getting small. Oh, I'm so dumb. This needs to be, yes. The smaller the number on the bottom gets, the bigger the overall number will get. So we need to do this. Yes, we want this number, so that way, a little bit of quick math is that you've basically got one number on top, one number on bottom. This number is inversely proportional, and this number is directly proportional. So the rect size here is directly proportional to this number. Now, I think this should work. Or not. Not at all, maybe. That's weird. Because now if we print new underscore size, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, so that is working how I'd expect it to work. Because right now it's 1. So now let's do this. Okay. Yeah, that's odd. Because this shows that it should be working. It's lerping the size correctly, so it must be in this. Print new size. Do that. So that's printing 48. Now let's print child.get. And let's snag this. Okay. Comma. That should be a period. Chat here. Okay. So clearly this is not working. This is not grabbing the correct thing. Oh, you know why? It's because we want to do this. No, that's not. All right, let's see. What if that happens? Does that work? Nope. This should show me the path, but it's not. Why do not? Custom fonts, font. Did I spell something wrong here? Custom fonts, font. Oh, we didn't print it. Okay. Child.get. Okay. Interesting. So it's not going to do that. But what if I do this dot size? There we go. Okay, so now what we want to do, is we'll just say, we'll change this to a get. Okay. And then delete that. And then we'll change this to dot size. That should work. I don't know why it's not. And then dot size equals new underscore size. Okay. And now hopefully, yep, now that works. So now you can see that they shrink as they get closer together, and they also get shrink. So yeah, that's how you might do that. And yeah, anyway, that's just one way you could do that. And then obviously you can tweak these as you want. You can also set an OS min size. I don't know, maybe you don't want these to get quite that small. Anyway, that's how you might do that. And yeah, so that's helpful. Go ahead and push these changes to GitHub. Okay, so this will be Vbox resize, to main, and push. So now that's there. Cool. Zendra, how's it going, man? It's going well. I'm having the time of my life. Just hanging out. The Godot jam went very well. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if everyone here joined, or at least was even following it, but it was sweet, man. I didn't really try to do well in here. I just wanted to get people's feedback, and I wanted to challenge myself to finish and try a bunch of new stuff in this time frame. But I'm pretty happy with what I got. The theme, I'm honestly surprised I even did that well. Actually, no, I'm not. That's about where I expect. There's no growth in this game whatsoever. So, and I came in 168 over 178 entries. Innovation, surprised at how much people didn't like it. And the overall, it's fine. Gameplay, SFX music makes sense. Design, I also think, 28 is actually pretty solid. There were some pretty good games in this community this time around. Especially given that that's like basically 4 stars. And the music in this game is fantastic because it's by DOS88, some music playing right now. Dude, I think game jams, like I'm starting to kind of get over them, but I think they're really helpful for doing like what I just did. Like I'm using them, like I'm gonna force myself to have a deadline just to get something done. And then now if I liked it and I think the game was fun, which I didn't want to stop working on this when it was over. Whereas like my opinion, that was definitely true. I wanted to quit it. Then now I can go and I'm going to develop this into a full game, which is gonna be cool because it shouldn't be too hard. But this game, like people really liked it, but by the time I submitted this to the game jam, I was like, I do not want to touch that game anymore. Yeah, this game was one I submitted to a game jam and then finished up, and now it might not be my favorite game anymore, but it's still a really awesome game. I really like it, really tough. But anyway, first game ever, pretty cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump back into the Q&A here, and let's try to answer some more people's questions. Yeah, exactly. That's like why it's great, is prototyping, and then you almost like guarantee that you're gonna get feedback on that, so you can know like what you're gonna do and stuff. Like even like now I've got enough probably followers that like I could ask for feedback and get some in my Discord, other people's Discord, stuff like that. But when I didn't have a YouTube channel, that was a great way to get feedback. Anyway, how to use an inherited function signature? Don't know what that means. How to execute a code until a button is pressed. I have a texture button and I want to execute this code as long as the button is pressed. Move left. Press. True. Input. Interesting. That's a very interesting way of doing that. Yeah. I mean, that's just essentially. I don't think I'm going to do that because I think that's a little too simple. You guys let me know. Oh, you did? What did you think? Most people think it's too hard, but once you eventually get into the rhythm, it's very rewarding. I think I just needed to kind of make it easier in the beginning for people, but I don't know. Bounce and base tile map. Whew. Invalid call non-existent function bounce and base tile map. I already know the answer to that one. Why can I access a constant from another class but not a variable? That should not be correct. So what's he doing here? I think he might be trying to change because you can only change it of an instance. Value of type string. Oh yeah, so this guy covered it. It's because he's trying to set it on a class, not an instance of the class. That's a problem. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, it's tough. Most people complain that it's too hard, but I think it's worth it. Custom audio bus not changing volume. Hi, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I have a music bus that has a master music and sounds, yet only master can change its volume and the rest is unchangeable. Can anyone tell me what I'm doing wrong? Set bus volume. Get bus index music 0. Interesting. That should work, I think. Let's go ahead and this code only works when music is set to master. When music is set to master. Yes, I have triple checked my auto stream. So I think this is actually really interesting because a lot of people don't know too much about the audio stream player and AudioBusses, but they're really, really handy. So I think I will just go ahead and open Solenoid again. So I have the thing open. Close this one. Let's go open Solenoid here. So if you go down here to the audio tab, you've got your different buses, right? These different things. So I've got a master volume, sound effects, and music. You definitely want to have these routed through your master. I don't know, maybe that's what he's doing. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And then I've got a file called music, which I think is how I'm mostly controlling. No, it's in transitioner. Our transitioner here. We go into this. We can see that this is how I'm changing the volume. So we've got a change sound effect volume, audio server.set bus volume, audio server blah blah blah, new volume. So that is what he's doing. So I'm confused. He said audio server.set bus volume, audio server.get bus index, sound effects, and then he's setting the new value. So that should work. But I have a music bus that has master music. I have a music bus that has master music and sounds, yet only master can change its volume. The rest is unchangeable. So I don't know. Here, let's go ahead and link the stream here. Going over this on stream right now. Okay. And then there's it's very tough to figure out exactly how long I've been doing this for. Let's see, is there anything? I think there was. Okay, I've been live for 55 minutes and 29 seconds. So should be at about 55 minutes. Okay, cool. And then I'll add that answer. So we head back over here. So yeah, this is exactly what he's doing, almost verbatim. He's, instead of new volume, this is just a function that changes that volume. He's got just 0 here, which I could definitely do and that would work. And by the way, though, you can't, it's pretty hard to tween this value. So I made this function called change SE volume, gave it a argument that is the new volume, and then all it does is change that. And what you can do is you can, this is the first time I use this, tween.interpolate method. You interpolate this method, and then we just pass in what we want to tween from. So, you know, if we're tweening out, or I'm sorry, in, we tween from like a -40 so that you can't hear the music to, you know, this is like a setting I've set. So the global remembered setting of what you want your max volume to be. And yeah, then it tweens it up to that, which is cool. But, so as you can see, there's a few things to note that are important about this. We've got our 3 buses here. These have to inherit from master. I honestly don't even know how you would not, but you definitely have to do that. That's what you have to do. And then also, of course, you need to make sure that your sounds themselves are inherited from the correct one. So if we go to, for instance, I call it player, yeah, player scene. I've got our thrusters audio, which is good, and you can see down here in the bus, I've selected sound effects. So that's very important because otherwise, obviously, it's not going to know that it's a sound effect unless we tell it is, and that's what we're doing right there. And then what I'm doing here is I'm doing exactly the code he did, and I'm grabbing the sound effects bus, which is this one, and I'm shifting this volume here. Okay, and yeah, that is essentially how you do that. These need to inherit from master. That's all it is. That's literally as simple as it is. So I don't know if you're doing something that's not there or is weird. But that should be that. Please feel free to drop a question in my Discord. If you're still confused or you're trying to do something different, and I'll get into that because I imagine he's not going to see this till later, the Discord link is up there in the chat. Go ahead and hop in there and then go into my Discord and then go to questions. Just drop it here and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And that's for anybody who wants to go ahead and ask me questions there, and I'll be happy to answer them, you know? Okay. So anyway, that is cool. I think those AudioBusses are super handy for stuff like that, because then you can control. The first game in Black Body, I actually did it in the most obscene way, which was like every single sound effect in the game would register itself on ready with a global singleton. It would then I would have like a set of like a big old dictionary of values for each sound effect and what their sound should be. Or their volume level, and then on ready, each sound effect would have its own script that would go up, grab that value, and set its own value to that value, which is just like insane. It works, but don't do that. Yeah, okay. For some reason I read moisters, but yeah, is there a way to get the monitor's refresh rate in GDScript? Probably already answered that one. Help with implementing a wall jump. That could be fun. Why are you using a canvas layer? For which? On here, am I on? Okay, good. I'm on ultra low latency, which is what I want. Why are you using a canvas layer? So the reason I was using a canvas layer there, and the reason I do a lot of times, is because you can really easily change what layer they're on, and so that was a transitioner scene. So hopefully I didn't close this, just open it right back up. So we go to the transitioner. So you can see that it's on a canvas layer, and then I put the layer to 100. So this is on the absolute top layer that the player is going to see, and that's because this is going to close and stuff like that. So that honestly does not matter for the audio though. This just happens. I wanted to control the audio from the transitioner, so that way when I transition scenes, I can, kind of sync up the visual transition with the audio transition. So that's the only reason. If that was your question, it has nothing to do with the audio, only to do with the visuals here, because now I know that this will basically interpolate the whole screen. That is honestly something I should have talked about when Diego asked about the glitch effect. It's very important that this is on a layer above everything else, because essentially what this does with the shader is it takes all the information of everything on screen that is underneath this layer and communicate. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. That's not true. Anyway, just do this. When you make a transitioner, you want it to be on the top layer. And then this is a shader that is taking all that information and covering the screen with that information. So anyway, cool. That's why I did that. I really should I feel bad because I want to release that game, but yeah. Yeah, dude, they have cool. I was putting like a little bit of reverb on sounds, like you can add a reverb effect. I haven't figured out how to do that from code because I haven't needed to, but for sure, like you could make, if you walk into a cave in your game, you could just go to AudioBus sound effects and like apply a reverb effect, and it would then sound like all your sound effects are happening in a cave, more or less, which I think would just be cool. And it's that easy to do that within Godot. Yeah, but honestly, one thing I will say is that sound effects in Godot can be a little bit costly if you're adjusting them often. So I kind of ran into that. So I had to do some things to optimize it because it was using a considerable amount of processing time. Yeah, anyway, just be aware of that. I thought that was interesting. With Godot. Okay, so this guy already solved his problem. Okay, cool. I would like to find uninstalled. Can I do write how do I write to the depth buffer in a shader? Nope, sorry, can't help you with that. How to interrupt looping animation while allowing it to complete current iteration. He's using visual scripting. Oh no, he's just using the animation tree. Okay. Hello, thank you for checking this question. The project is set up in the next way. I'm gonna upload it because you don't get a lot of kind people. People just like, give me the answer. So you deserve that, my friend. I'm working on a 2.5D character controller, and I stumbled upon one issue. To animate my character, I'm using animation node blend tree. My goal is to make my character play looping bounce animation when he is moving and stop it otherwise. The problem is that when stopping bounce animation amidst playtime, the character ends up in the wrong position above the ground. I'd like to allow this animation to finish its current loop and only then stop it. Okay, so the way I would do this is to actually use, let's see, to control when to play the bounce animation, I can modify blend property, blah, blah, blah. When it's set to 1, it plays looping bounce, blah, blah, blah. So the way you would want to do this is you can set, let's actually, again, let's go ahead and add this in here. And then I'll go ahead, answering this live on stream. And then, let's see, how long have I been recording here? 1 hour, 3 minutes. Should be about 1 hour. Should be at about, the 1 hour mark. Okay, cool. Okay. Am I full-blown stupid? Okay, there we go. Cool, cool, cool. So, what you can do in the animation player is really handy. I guess I'll make a simple kind of animation like that. So we'll add a little guy here. We'll add a node. Well, here, I'll change this, change type to a sprite. And then I'll go ahead and add the icon here. Texture, just like that. And then zoom in a little bit. Okay, and I'll add an animation. This is a lot to do to explain something, but no, not an animation tree. Is he using an animation tree player? Because that's not good. Animation node, blend, no, he's using the animation tree. Okay, cool. Perdón. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna share one of my old projects because it's actually like a very simple solution to do this. What is the project? Oh, it's, okay. So we go here, Godot code, Godot man, and Godot project files, and there's the project. Okay, so here's our man, Godot man. And you can see that he can run around, but you might notice that when he is stopping or starting an animation, he like smoothly transitions to running or not running. It's not just like all of a sudden he starts. It slows down and finishes. And so there's several ways to do that. In the animation tree, just movement. So this is just a blend space 2D. But what you can do is you can change the transitions between things. So I think I've got it, yeah, and here I've got it better. So in the shoot transition, I want the shoot to finish playing, right? So what I've done is you can click this, this bar right here. You can, any of these ones that link between, and then we can say switch mode, and you can change this to at end. And so what this will do is make sure that this animation finishes playing before that happens. If it's a looping animation, I do believe this is triggered each time the loop ends. Oh yeah, and then make sure you check auto advance on. So you can see that like when I shoot here, he does the shoot animation and then comes back to the other animation like that, right? And so that's because it plays the shoot animation and then waits till it finishes and then auto advances back to this animation. And this animation is just the arm bobbing up and down like this. That's all this animation does. So, but shoot, we want it to do that behavior, and then at the end of it, we want to go ahead and do this. So yeah, again, you would go into your animation tree here, click on the transition between, in your case, your running animation or your bounce animation and your idle animation. You would click on the transition and then go over here to the inspector. I don't know why I can't speak. Change the switch mode to at end, which means it changes at the end of that animation, and then make sure auto advance is on. Thus, it will automatically advance to the next animation when that's done. In your case, you should switch from your movement to your idle. If you don't have an idle, you should make an idle, because this is by far the easiest way to do that.
Well, I don't know, if you're doing a looping animation,
Yeah, I think this is actually what I just said will work for some people, but I don't think will actually work in your case. In your case, I think you actually do want to do what I did in this. So in this one, and this has to do with the running. So you can see when I run, not straight up and down, I didn't make this, but you can see when I run, I do this, and then I slow down, I go into my idle animation. I don't just stop it, like kind of gradually slows into that. And that's based upon my velocity. So what I've done here, if we go into this, is that this is a blend space 2D, or 1D actually. This is a blend space, so if we go right click, we can add blend space 1D. And then so based upon your velocity, this will animate. So here is this little thing. This represents the vector here in the blend position, right? And I have made it so that if it is 0, you will idle, okay? If it is greater than 0, it will start to, or if it is 1, then you'll be running. So you can change this so that way you can slowly kind of work up to the run animation like that. You don't see that? So that's pretty much what you want, right? Is because if you've got the bounce animation, you want them to kind of come back into whatever your idle animation is. So you can do it in a blend space 2D, which is like the big triangle, but if it's just, I'm moving just between running and stopping, then I think this is the move. And the way we do this in code is that up here, if I go to movement in my movement function, we can grab our blend position. So AnimationTree, which is this, set parameters movement blend position. So that is the path to right here. So we can see we can go to here, the parameters property, then we can go to the movement and then get the blend position, which again is just the position of this, right? And then again, here we're setting, if you right click in this, I guess you click this, and then if you click one of these, you can add the animation. So I can add the idle and the run animation here, is what I would do there. Let's go back to that. And then so what we're doing here is we're just setting the blend position equal to our current velocity divided by our max velocity, right? And this will be always a number between 0 and 1, again, because yeah, so to quickly go over this again, and I did absolute value because we don't want this to be negative, only want this to be in a positive scale. Because you could be running left or right, and if you're running left, you'll have a negative x velocity, so we still want this to be positive because we just want this as like a kind of like a vector value or a magnitude. It doesn't need to be negative or positive. Anyway, so yeah, again, we take our max velocity, and then we divide our current velocity by our max velocity. So if we are at max velocity, this will equal 1 because you've got max. You are reaching your max velocity divided by your max velocity equals 1. And then if you are lower than that, for instance, if this is 0 because you're idling, then this will equal 0, and this will set our blend position equal to 0, meaning that we'll be right here. So that's all. This is 2 lines of code, and you've got that. And yeah, that's how I would do your case like that. I think that's really handy, and there's a lot more stuff I'd want to do kind of with stuff like that. All right, so that's cool. We got that one done. Let's go ahead and hop into some more of these questions here. How to interrupt looping animation, get size of children node. I think, is that the one I answered first? Yeah, okay. Check this out. Let's reload this page. Okay, how to use inherited function. I'm gonna look at what this is because you might just not be using. Example given that event is an input event mouse button. How can I code the signature to allow that type? In other words, I want the function signature below. If input event, if input is event and event is pressed, target equals event as input dot position pass to look like this below. But I get an error when I do this. Target equals event dot position pass. Interesting. In this case, event input event mouse button is a descendant of input event and is also passed the input function as such. Huh, that is odd that is not working, because I'm pretty sure that's what I do in my thing here, but let's check this out. So if I go to Godot code, and do I have Lunar Bastion on here? That would suck if I didn't. Game Octane, yeah, that's what it's called. project.godot. Okay, and then selection icon. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Okay, cool. And then, oh wait, did I not? Okay, let's do search, find files, underscore input, and find, where did I use this? That's not what we want. Oh, I don't think I used it. Because I think I was also having the same issue. That's so funny. Wait, if event is input event key and input event and event.pres event equals event as input event key, last key equals, bummer. Okay, that's not what we wanted either. Oh, this is in my, okay, this is in John Watson's. Cool. Do I have that enabled in here? No, I don't. Anyway, okay, yeah, so unfortunately that is not going to work for you because you should be able to get the event.position. You should be able to do that, but I don't know why. If I go print event, right? What scene is this? That's in HUD, so we want to start the game. I should have added this to that other game. Okay, cool. So why can't I do event dot, probably global? That should work, I think. That's a bummer that I have to sit through that. Huh, okay, that's weird. Okay, let's go over. Okay, well, let's do this. So I'm gonna make it, so say var target equals, not target, var target, okay, I'm gonna say print target, okay, and then let's just make sure this works. Yeah, that's totally working. I would probably do global position, but yeah. So let's rip that. Wait, is he using input or unhandled input? He's using input, but that should not make a difference. Also, he shouldn't be type hinting. Yeah, okay. So first off, let's do this. Answering live on stream should be at an hour 10. Minutes, okay. And then I'll do this. I'll say the following is working for me. Cool, let's do this and then do that. So I think that, is this it? Yeah, okay, add answer. So I think that his problem is probably, so people unnecessarily type things. Type hinting is great, but there's no need to do it. So you shouldn't be type hinting these. That's probably part of the problem. Yeah, this should definitely not work. It looks like below, again, error when I do this. Is a descendant of and is also passed in the input function as such. Here, let's go edit. So I think I just misunderstood the question, but you should not type hint virtual functions if that is what you are talking about. Okay, save changes. Cool. Anyway, yeah, so I'll go ahead and delete that now. But yeah, you should not be type hinting virtual functions. Type hinting is like nice, but absolutely not needed. And you know, obviously if it's causing a bug, you shouldn't be doing it. So yeah, you definitely should not be type hinting the events in this. Also, you shouldn't be type hinting delta. You can, but there's literally 0 point in doing so. Yeah, you should not do that. You should just do it this way. IsPressed, event.isPressed is fine. Event.pressed is also fine. IsPressed is a function. This checks the property. They're both doing the exact same thing. And yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and quit that. And yeah, let's move on, shall we? Yo. Hi, if the topic isn't too big, can you explain how to go about coding a state machine for a player character by yourself and how it basically works? Yeah, I would love to do that. As long as you are in the chat, you are going to get priority, so I'm happy to do that. I guess I'll just start from scratch and just make one. So we'll go ahead and we'll add a 2D scene here, and add a kinematic body 2D, and then we'll go ahead and name this guy player. We'll add a CollisionShape. We'll also add a sprite, and then, as always, we're going to add our beautiful icon to that sprite. There we go. Okay. And then I'll set the CollisionShape to a new square shape. Do this. Nice. And then we'll go ahead and add a script here. So I want to save this. Well, here, before we do any of this, let's go ahead and save this. So we'll go back up here, new folder, and this will be state machine. Okay, this is going to be world. Okay, save it right there. I'm going to go ahead and add a script to the player here. Okay, now I am going to steal some movement code. So let's go player. Because I don't want to make all this movement code again. Let's just do that. And we'll do nice. I think if we grab all this, we should be good. Okay, go to here, paste all that. There's a few things I want to get rid of because we don't need here. We don't need these. We also don't need any of those. Okay, and then this should work. So now if I, oop, no, don't have acceleration. Color player, there we go, let's do that. Okay, anyway, so that's just basic movement code. I've made this 100 times, so I don't just feel like coding it from scratch again. But now if we run this, I should be able to move the player around. Yep, like a freaking maniac. Very excited about that. Okay. Now what we want to do is go ahead and check this out. Yeah, so I'm gonna code the state machine from scratch, but not all the movement. Yeah, so a state machine. So there's a few different data types we're gonna use here. So I'm gonna use enum, okay, and we'll make a few states. So we'll say constant normal. And then we'll make another state, and we'll call this, we can do this, we can say idle, we could say normal, okay? So these are our two states. Obviously, you're probably gonna have more than this, and after I quickly go over this, I'll show you an example of my code where I have a much more complex state machine like this. They'll say var state equals idle. So what this does, the enum function, is essentially this just creates constant variables that are just equal to numbers. So right now we have essentially a variable called idle that equals 0, right? And then we have a variable called normal that equals 1. And then what you can do in your physics process here is you can say match state, okay? And then we would have things like this. So we'd say idle. Yeah, so we'd say idle right there. Pass, and then we'd say movement. Oh no, I made this normal. Let's make this move. move, we want to do movement. So I should actually set this to move by default. So now if we run this, oh, this needs to be one more over. So now if we run this, you can see I move, and if I want to switch, there has to be somewhere that I switch to the idle state, right? Maybe I don't want this to be idle. Maybe I want this to be like shooting or something, for instance. Then you would make that in this code, right? So like we can say that, we can make like a timer, for instance, and then switch. And we would do something like, I don't know, if velocity, here we'll check if velocity equals vector2 dot 0, then we will, oopsies, then we'll just say state equals idle, okay? And then in the idle state, here's where we would have to determine like what is going to happen in the idle state. And ideally what you'd want is maybe another function called idle, and then it would detect for movement, and then what would happen is then when it sees that you have an input, well, let's just go ahead and do that. So we'll make like function idle, and then you would probably have some like, you know, play this animation, do this, I don't know, maybe start recharging shields, whatever you want to do at that point. And then we would have something like this. So we'd say again, we would say, I'll do this. Yeah, I'll do this. Trying to think about so first off, I want to put this. I want to say idle in here. Okay, and then essentially what we want to do is that if we detect input from the user, then switch the, yeah, we can just do this, that's fine. So we'll do this. Okay, and then this is just very dirty. I'll say if, again, I'll just do this. So if input vector like this, right? If input vector does not equal 0, then what we'll do is we'll say state equals move, all right? Now, actually, before I do this, I would like to do this. So right now you can see that I'm pressing my arrow keys and nothing's happened because I'm in the idle state. Now, if I make this, for instance, like print hello, and I run this, you'll see in the bottom that it's printing hello because we're in the idle state. Now again, there's nothing, if I go ahead and change this to idle, and then I say, well here, let's actually just do this. Right here, I'll say print state, and that'll actually be handy because then we can see here. So if I start the game, you can see that we are in the idle state because it's printing 0. If I start moving, it's gonna start printing 1. If I stop, it's gonna start printing 0 again. And so essentially all we're doing is we're switching between those states and different things are happening in those different states. And so I think that's pretty handy. This is not the best way to do that specifically, but between an idle and a movement state, that's not the best. But this is how I find is a great way to deal with states. And then your physics process, you just match that state. You can also just do this with a bunch of if statements. It's almost the same thing with a match, but I think for something like this specifically, I like to do it with a match statement. So again, I'm gonna get the GitHub link for this should be in the description, but I'm gonna go ahead and push this. It's gonna be state machine. And I'll go ahead and commit that and push that. And then I'll go ahead and show you a project I did. Got a lot of things open, don't I? Yeah. Okay, we'll go to this one. And I want to go to Hexcode Jam, Perry, and we'll open up this project. And I'll show you an example of a more complex. Awesome, dude. I'm glad I could help. If you've got any questions, please go ahead and just ask some more. I'm happy to help with anything. Also, subscribe and then I'm trying to do these weekly, so you can hop on here, maybe you don't have any questions now, figure out one, hop on here, ask me another question. I love doing it. So yeah, but anyway, so I want to go over to that's the fake player. Oh, I called him Perry. Okay, cool. So now if we go into this script, you can see I've got, this is a pretty complex script. And then we've got our enum with our states. So I've got normal, parry, good dream, hit, and dead. So all these different states that you can be in, right? Again, we have we have made an export var, but you can just think of this as a normal var, and I'm setting it to normal. Just like ignore this, right? This doesn't matter. It is just different from mine because, as you can see in the startup screen, I have him right here, and I want, if I load the game, you'll see that he's dead at the bottom of the screen because that's how I want it to be. And then I made it, if you play the game, then he like pops up like that. Sorry guys, I'm stuck in my eye. Anyway, that is why that is like that, but you can see that we've got tons of different ways of changing these. So you can see in our physics process, I'm doing that exact same thing. I'm saying match state, normal, parry, good dream, hit, dead, right? Very handy. And in these states, I'm doing many different things. So in normal, we're allowing the player to attack, move, or parry, and we also are making sure that we set this good dream state to false. Okay. Then you can see in our movement function, if, oh, this should be included there. Anyway, there should be something in movement that will switch it. Okay, wall jump, movement paused. Let's see, state. Is it not? Oh no, I guess there's nothing in. Oh, I think, yeah, I have a function called animate that kind of does that. But again, all we're doing is changing the state. It's actually more clear on something like that. That's animate. Where is it? Good dream functions, parry functions. There we go. Okay, so if input is action just pressed UI parry, right? So parrying is like just, you know, deflecting a bullet, right? Then we switch our state to the parry state. So again, the function parry is being called in normal because you have the option to essentially block a move in the normal state. You're running around, you can block. But if you do block, then I want this to happen. We're gonna put, well, I guess here I'm not doing anything, but this would switch to this state, right? And that's kind of the point, as I don't want the player to be able to move or attack anymore, so we switch to the parry state. And then so what you can see I've done right here is that we switch the state to parry, and we also start a timer right here. How did I do this? I think I did do this with the timer. But anyway, eventually, once the parry is, oh, it's an animation. Yeah, so the animation triggers calls this function. But yeah, so anyway, so we start parrying and we switch our state to parry so that way I can't move. Then once we finish that parry animation, then we play this and we switch our state back to normal. So that's how you do that, depending on what state you want to do. You know, you have to change states based on something. But it actually makes a lot of sense, right? Like if you are idling, that means like, oh, my velocity is 0, then you switch the state to idle. Like that's as simple as it gets. And yeah, it just depends on your case. If you got any specific example, I'd be happy to work through that. But yeah, that's basically how you do that. And this is now on GitHub, and I just pushed it. The link is in the description. Aknikos, what's going on? Hey, have you tried one of these state machine plugins? I wonder how they compare to manually making one as you did. I haven't tried, so I don't know. I have not. Let's take a look. Okay, let's do state machines. Extended state machine, hierarchical finite state machine. I don't know what a finite state machine is, honestly. Let's Google that. A finite state machine or finite automation is a mathematical model of computation. It is an abstract machine that can be in exactly one of a finite state. Oh, so that's exactly what we just made. Combinational logic, finite state machine, push down automation, Turing machine. Cool. Okay. Well, anyway, that's what that is. Raíces. This is really interesting. This one looks the coolest, so I'll go ahead and check that one out. That's how I do things. This time based on nodes and methods. Right. Interesting. I mean, I definitely prefer to make things myself. First of all, let's also get rid of. Well, let's comment this. Let's see. But anyway, I said live. I want to see one with like, some pictures. I don't know what an extended state machine is. Whoa, what the heck? What? This plugin is kind of a state charts. You should read me to learn how to use it. Errors to measure chart. Okay. Whoa, dude. This looks less friendly than mine to me, but I guess it depends on you. I think this is what a lot of people are doing. I definitely prefer to do things my way. I'm not even gonna hop into that. It just looks more difficult to me. But if you are a visual learner, I'd imagine, or like you like using stuff like, oh, this is cool actually. Godot. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I typically do state machines for animations. Huh? Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. My girlfriend's the best, everybody. I promise she's real too. Haha. But you know, for animations, you kind of have to use a state machine, and then there's much more. I've actually had a lot of fun animating. Like I showed you the Godot man earlier, and of course I deleted it, or exited out of it at least. Godot man, project files, project.godot. Well, actually, so yeah, this is actually a really simple state machine. So let's actually open up Perry again. Perry, nice. Okay, and then let's go to Perry. If you check out Perry here, and I go to my animation tree, you can see that I've got a pretty complex looking animation tree here, and I actually did not understand that much about it, as I kind of wish I did. So for instance, like I'm manually switching between all of these, but you really don't have to, right? So like, for instance, like falling should automatically transition to running. Like, well, you might need to do some things like hit the ground, and then if that is true, then change. But something like hit, for instance, like when I get hit, I want to go ahead and play this animation, and then when I'm done, I want to transition to whatever is next in the normal. So yeah, so like for instance, we can have this transition to that, and then we could have like, yeah, we could have this all on like, okay, if my Y velocity is this, then I want to be falling. If my X velocity is this, then I want to be running. You know, stuff like that. Handy. But yeah, anyway, and then you can click on these and change the transition mode to immediate, sync, at end. Anyway, so this is like the closest I would get to a state machine in any of my games. But yeah, there you go. There you go. I've made that a lot too in enemies too. Like I'll have, you know, following, searching. Like some guy might just be wandering, or what's it called, patrolling. So patrol, chasing, attacking, you know, stuff like that. Really helpful for AIs. I use it more for AIs than players, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't really understand the difference between a state machine and a behavior tree. Are you listening to me, Google? Okay, well, finite state machines are used for general visual programming. Behavior trees have a few advantages over it. They provide lots of flexibility. They're powerful, easy to make changes to. I guess I just don't understand. Nope, I just wanted to search behavior tree. I mean, I'd imagine it does something like that, but then has line of sight, chase player, rotate to face BB entry, BT chase player, move to, yeah, I mean, this is essentially the same thing as a state machine. That's why, like, I don't understand why they're trying to say there's so much difference. Like, I have each one trigger different events in the state. Like, if we have line of sight, so AI state, if we have line of sight, do this. If not, do this. Like, that's basically a state machine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's the same way. A state machine, you just, a behavior tree is really just a deep state machine. You've got this, then here you have states within this, and then you can choose that. So I don't know, but that's basically how I do it, is like that. So I'll have like chasing player, and then if you're in the chasing player, you're basically having another state machine within that state machine saying, you know, if your charging timer is timeout, then shoot, otherwise just chase. Like that's kind of how I do that. Anyway. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and check this out. I'm gonna hop back in here. Need help with pathfinding in 3D space? Sorry, can't help you there. Why can I access a constant from another class but not a variable? Let's scroll down a little bit. Get a screenshot of the game, how to paint a time map. I've actually never done it, but there is like you can do, I think there's like something up here you can use, and then in code you can do that. So let's just click on that because it looks like someone answered this question. Answer. Take screenshot, bar, old, clear mode. Viewport back at clear mode. Interesting. Whoa, I don't think it's that complicated. I think there's a much easier way to do that, but anyway, cool. I'm gonna make a tile map with different colors. I'll do in chat. For anyone interested, there is a great video from GDC 2017 about these techniques for AI development. The video is called AI Arborist. Thank you, Aknakos. Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely go over that if anyone's interested as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's something that like makes that part of programming makes a lot of sense to me. The state machines is the easy part for me. The hard part is like actually coding the behavior in the state machines. But that's just me. Is there any visual? I'll do the dishes, babe. Okay. Is there any visual? Blah blah blah. Editor. One node giving 2 different instance IDs. Interesting. Spicy black tea. Sweet and spicy. Oh, actually, yeah. Give me one of those and one of the cardamoms. Sorry. Okay, hopefully someone could point me in the right direction towards sex with that. Since you have class name player, just use if body is player as your conditional. Let's see. I wonder if I should, no, because, yeah, I mean, there's ways to do this, but I think making it global. Anyway, so a lot of, in my scripts, you'll see me do like globals.player equals self on the player, and then all the others can access it that way. But yeah, because this is handy. When it's something like class name player, you can get the general script and stuff like that. But thanks, Nicholas. I'm probably on the way out here unless things pick up, but you know, it's cool. I wish. Oh, very nice. Oh, it looks so good. I got a new mug. It's beautiful, I think. I think it's great. Anyway. Yeah, okay, so that works. He's explained that. If anyone's got any questions, again, please drop them. I'd much rather answer those. Let's go on Reddit too, because Reddit is cool. Really nice people on here. Okay, we'll search this by help. AimationTree, thank you. Behaving inconsistently occasionally won't change the sprite. Interesting. Need a bit of help. Hello, I need some help. I'm trying to create an FNF mod launcher using the Godot engine. That is not good for this. Handling animation. Stump. And I'm a bit stumped. To what the best practice is to handle my animations. Animations with my player. Yeah. Yep. He handled that one. Shader applies to all objects of this type. Okay, so this is something I've covered several times before, but essentially you want to go to the inspector tab, go to material, and change resource to local to scene. All right, there you go, and that's it. So if you go for something like this and we go to material, I don't have a material on this one, but you can go, for instance, it should be here too. No, it's not gonna let me. Let's see. Shader. This is what we want right there. Here we go. Okay, so if we go to one of these, you can go. Why is it saying that? Oh, because it's a scene. sprite. There we go. Okay, so in material here, you can go to, so yeah, this should be, go to material, material resource, to material resource, local to scene. Okay. Scene, okay. And make sure each instance is different. Copy and paste will not, will prevent this from working. Okay, anyway, so what I'm trying to say there, and I don't know if I communicated well, was that if you go in here and I Command C, Command V, and just copy and paste one of these guys, it's not, the local to scene thing no longer works. So this is done with, we've got two shaders, and if I go over one, then that one highlights with the shader. The shader is applied to that one. Now, if I duplicate one of these guys, and then I gotta move it so I go this, now what happens is that, oh, that's weird. Before that was not working. If I duplicated it, it did not seem to work for me. If I go C, V, and then do that, let's see. Maybe they fixed this in, oh yeah, they changed that in Godot 3. Okay, so they fixed that. So that was a bug. I thought they did that on purpose. But yeah, so now it still works what I'm saying, but now you don't actually have to be aware of the caveat, which is that if you duplicate or command paste the node, it won't work because it was identifying them as the exact same node. And now they fixed that, and I guess I'm in the most recent Godot 3.3. I think this is 3.3, right? Why does it not say? Yeah, 3.3.2 stable. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, perfecto, yeah. All right. The Tom Green Arcade. I have an enemy who drops ammo on death. For the user, let's go ahead and unpin Diego's comment. Okay. Oh, I missed two big old questions. All right, let's see what you guys got. I guess I technically, I'll read them both, and whichever is easier I'll do first. If I set a variable to true to start a timer, the timer starts over and over again, every frame, and never finishes. Is there a way around it, or maybe there's a better way to do it? I have an enemy who drops ammo on death for the user to detect it and pick up. Would you do an area 2D on the player to detect it when it enters the ammo sprite, or a signal on the ammo? Well, I already actually, here, let's check this out. I've made a pickups, I think, here we go, coins. So this is the GitHub link to this is in the description, and you can go check this out yourself, and I'll show you exactly how I did it here. No, where's the world? Coin test world, okay, cool. So in this game, you can see that these are coins, supposedly they're Godot tokens, and you get near them, they fly towards the player. But you can see that this also implements exactly what you're talking about, like how would we get the player to pick them up? So here's the coin, it's itself a scene, right? It itself is an area 2D, it's got another area 2D. We've got two area 2Ds on it. This one, yeah, this one is this detection area you can ignore in your case, because this is just to determine if the player's in this area, then this area will move towards the player, right? This has nothing to do with collecting it. This area has everything to do with collecting it. So on here, I've connected a area entered signal. So I guess the answer to your question is you need to do both, because when this enters, this is this smaller area here. I don't know if you can see that flickering there. But essentially, when this enters the player, what we want to happen is two things. We want the player to know that they have picked up the coin, and we also want the coin to know that it has been picked up by the player. So that we connect the area entered or body entered signal, depending on what your player is. And then on here, in my case, I'm just going to queue it free. That's all I got to do. And then area entered. Oh, we connected both signals, I guess. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then for the player, what we do is we do the same thing. We have an area, and then we connect the signal here. Should be connected. Maybe I didn't. Coin collection area. But essentially, oh yeah, I never connected that up. But then you would do that. You would do, so we know that the coin is an area, and we go here and we just connect area entered. And then we would do on area entered, I guess I'll just do that. On area entered, what we'll do is then we'll say, like, for instance, like you can add that, whatever that is, to your inventory. So you can say coin, and in this case I know they're coins, so I could say, like, for instance, I could make like a var money equals 0, and then I could say like money plus equals 1. But what you might also want to do, right, is like if each item that you're having the player pick up is a different item, you could then say something like, you can make a variable here, like variable target identity. So variable item equals, and it could be a string, like, I don't know, gun, right? So let's say this is a gun. And then what we could do here is then say area dot get underscore item, okay? And then this will return to you. So if we go here, we say print, okay, something like that. Now what we do is if we run this, and oopsies, gotta go into this one. If we run this and then pick these up, you can see that they print out what they are. So that way we can get that from the coin here. And we can change that what we want. So we could make this, for instance, oh, no longer gun, but now it's a, you know, a fish. Or, yeah, I was gonna do fishing rod, but yeah, it's a fish. And then now these will all be fish. And so that way you can have one coin be a fish. Let's do this. Let's make this an export var item. And then we'll go here to the world, and then we can go to some of these variables and say, okay, I want this one to be a gun, and then I want coin 4 over here to be a coffee, right? And then now we can say like, oh, okay, I picked up a gun, a fish, a coffee, and then another fish. Anyway, so that's one way you might go about doing that. And yeah, this code, I should probably get rid of those for right now. It's important to note that, for instance, I just deleted the variable item here. Oopsies. And now if I try to pick them up, they're not gonna have that variable, so it's gonna say null. Okay, that's the good thing about get, is that it won't break your game, it'll just say null. But sometimes what you wanna do is say, like, well, for instance, you can say if area.getItem, then print the item. And now it won't print anything unless we set one of those guys to the item, right? So yeah, anyway, that's how you might go about doing something like that. And then we'll go to player. I'll disconnect that. Okay, cool. That's how you do that. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for asking the question. And then I'll get to Octacos in a second, but I want to answer, if I set a variable to true to start a timer, the timer starts over and over again every frame and never finishes. Is there a way around it, or maybe there is a better way to do it? So I'd imagine what you're doing is you're trying to start the timer in the physics process, which is inherently a problem. And well, here, so you definitely do want to use the timer node. But the problem here is that you've got something, so let's go ahead and add this. I'll add a timer, and then I'll go ahead and save this. Let's go back up here, create folder, and this will be timer in physics process, okay. And this will be timer thing, okay. Cool. I'll add a script here. And then, so I'll do on ready var timer equals timer. And then we'll do function underscore physics process delta pass. Okay. Now, I also want to go into the timer and connect the timeout signal right there. Just like that. Okay, cool. So what I'd imagine you are doing is trying to start the timer by doing timer.start. And even if it's not in physics process, maybe you're doing this in like every time the player, you know, finishes his run cycle animation, you want to start the timer, and it's not finishing. the way you would do this is make something called a flag. So we would say var timer underscore started. Well, you can also, there's a few ways you can do this. So let's go ahead and open up the documentation. So if you go to up here to the search help and we search timer, we can look at the node here. So we have is stopped, right? And this returns if it's stopped or not. So you can say here, we can say if timer dot is underscore stopped. Stopped, okay. Then timer dot start, and here we'll say print timeout. Okay, and then we can do this, and you can see that this should work, and so it'll start printing out timeout, 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 right? Because this is going to be true only when the timer has timed out. So it will only start it then. You can likewise do something like this. You can say if not timer is stopped. And then we'll get the opposite effect. This will never work, right? So yeah, you can only, this makes it so you can only reset the timer if it is stopped. So we actually don't need a flag in this case. But a lot of times what I'll do, for instance, when I make shooting games, what I'll do is I'll say, like, for instance, we'll have like input. So we'll say if input dot is action just pressed shoot, right? And then we'll say and can underscore shoot. Okay, pass. And then I'll define can shoot here. So this will be a var can underscore shoot equals true. Okay, then what we'll do is we'll say timer dot start. There we go, okay. And then we'll say, to simulate shooting, we'll say print shooting. Okay. And then what we'll also do here is we'll then say can shoot, can underscore shoot equals false. And then here we'll say can underscore shoot equals true. Okay, so essentially what we've done here now is that when if we press the shoot button and we can shoot, then we shoot, then we won't be able to shoot again until the timer times out. So that's how you might make like a fire rate, right? So I'll do this, and then oh, that's because we want to change the timer to be one shot for this to work. But so I can shoot, but then I'm pressing the spacebar over and over again, and I can only shoot until it times out. Shoot, okay, shoot, and then see, it only prints there. So that's one way you can make like kind of a fire rate, and that's one way you might do that with the timer like that. Anyway, yeah, so I'll push this to GitHub real quick. Say timer, okay, commit, and push to origin. Okay, cool, and let's go ahead and see what Ocnikos was gonna say. I have a follow-up question similar to the Tom Green archive. On a huge world, I have many different things with static bodies areas to detect player interactivity. Should I just use all static bodies areas at all times, or is there a built-in technique you know of to handle spawning the physical nodes? Oh, awesome, I'm glad that helped you. Know of to handle spawning the physical nodes when and only the player is near. For whatever reason, when I hear can shoot, I imagine the player shooting a can. Nice, I feel that. So I actually haven't dived into this too much, but there is absolutely, so the way I did it the first time I ever tried to do something like that is I have something, I should probably upload this to the Godot like asset library, but I have something called a doorway node. I don't know if it's in, no, I didn't put it in here. But essentially the doorway node is an area that, like, it's got two areas like this, and it can tell you if you've gone through the doorway in which direction, on which side of the doorway you are. So you could do that, and you could divide up your level into chunks, and you can say that if you pass this doorway, meaning that you're in this area, then load everything in this area. But if you pass the doorway on this, then only load everything in this area. But that is a lot of work, and there apparently, someone mentioned to me this on Reddit. There's like, I think it's in resources, process priority, script, visibility, material. There is something that basically does this built in, but I haven't messed with it yet. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't know. Oh yeah, I made these logos. Everyone hates them, which I thought was. I don't like this one at all. Someone else just said try making one that's not a face, and then I thought this. I thought this was just fun. Don't like this one, but I think this one's fucking sick. Okay, cool. And then I want to see, because someone asked this question. Ankala bro. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to figure out what I could search to find it. I think it was like large, or maybe levels. Where, I don't even see that second one. Ugh. Ugh, ugh. I hate that I can't find this. Okay, so it's above that. Entry, Hexco, Jam. An intro to GScript course for non-coders. Oh, interesting. I know this is not riveting, but I would really like to find this. Oh, here we go. You can use, okay, imagine your chunk parent is a Node2D. You can use instance placeholder to have the position. There we go. Instance placeholder, okay. Let's try this. Place. Instance. Okay, so I guess that's not a thing. Let's check this out. An object placeholder for the root node of a pack scene. Turning on the option load as placeholder for an instance scene in the editor causes it to be replaced by an instance placeholder when running the game. This makes it possible to delay actually loading a scene until calling replace by instance. This is useful to avoid larging load scenes all at once by loading parts of it selectively. The instance placeholder does not have a transform. This causes any child nodes to be positioned relative to the viewport from point 00 rather than their parent class as displayed in the editor. Replacing the placeholder with a scene with a transform will transform children relatively to their parent again. Okay. So it looks like this is like something we can look up, but if I instance placeholder, I don't understand like where this is though. Like I don't understand how to access this. But yeah, this is like what I would want to get into, but I just can't figure out exactly how to use it. So script, process priority, pause mode. You'd think it would be right here under node, editor description. Not thread safe, use object call deferred. Interesting. Like why can't I choose this and then say, maybe I want this one? No. Node. Let's just try Godot instance placeholder. Not look at the documentation. Huh. You can select instance scenes in your scene tree and convert them to instance placeholders that remain visible in your scene within the editor, but which will initially not be loaded but still present in the scene tree at runtime. Then when you run your load data method, you can just call replace by instance on each node that has the enabled true flag. Okay, so this is still better. It's still very similar to what I was doing before, but yeah, I mean, maybe you can look into this. Oh, like right click? That would make a lot of sense. I don't see it. Parent, duplicate, move down. Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much I want to get into that right now, but I would definitely look into this. This is definitely like where you would want to look at that, right? And then I can show you my doorway script if anyone's interested. I think it's probably the most efficient way to go about that. So, okay. The Godot 3.3.1, or just 3.3, broke this, so I hope that everything still works. But, so here's a doorway, right? Here's that scene, so if we go here. And so what it is, it's got two areas. I've also labeled them so you know. And then I've made a bunch of custom signals here. So doorway used, and then it tells you the direction, or it's, yeah, and then the, so area 1, area 2, it tells you 1 entered, 1 exited, 2 entered, 2 exited, and you can get very, very complex with this. And so essentially it'll tell you on which side that you entered. So, for instance, we can do on, where's it? Where's doorway used? So yeah, on each one exited, and then, yeah, so it tells you if you exit the second doorway, this is the direction on which you've exited. And it only lets those know if you've walked in and then walked back out, it won't accidentally send the signal, and it'll tell you which way you're going to do this. I should probably just like yoink this, huh? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Let's do it. No, where is it? Not Perry. Is it this one? Is this Mecha? I think it is. Scenes, functional scenes, doorway. Cool. Okay, and I'm just gonna post that in, well here, let's, Godot code. Is that tutorial projects? Nope. Where is this? Testing, there we go. Okay, and then I'll just add QA sessions. This one, new folder, doorway, okay. And then I'll paste this in there. Now this should be, let's quit this. Oh, but I'll show you how I'm using it real quick in the game. So we run this. Okay. So you can see that if I run through this doorway, then it knows that I'm on this and I want it to load up this house. And then if I'm on this side, I want it to hide that house, like that. I definitely want to get working on this game more, especially now that I know all the things I know. I can optimize it a lot more. I can make things look a lot better. Anyway, yeah, that's, I'll push it to GitHub right now. Say, doorway. Okay. Yeah, and then that'll be right in there, so you can look at it. Let's go in here, open that, fix dependencies, fix broken, okay, and open anyway. There we go, and then there that is. Now it's all. Let's do that. Oh, look at that! I would love if it would do that. Wait, what? I wanted to, oh, there we go. Oh, no, it worked. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Okay, cool. And then, yeah, so this is all that is. If you go through this area, it tells you which area you left if you just go to the doorway used signal. So I think that's pretty handy. Yeah. I thought it was still hot. Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. Oh my gosh. It's like cinnamon, clove, and cardamom tea. It's my type of tea. My type of tea. Okay, cool. Yeah, please everybody, like, go ahead and drop some questions. Buster Bobo, what's going on? Hi there, I have a question about signals between two nodes which are being instanced, spawned by scene to code. What is the best practice to do it? So far, I have attached script in the beginning of a scene. Hey, so you can connect and disconnect signals from any kind of, or from any node, right? So if I'm spawning nodes in somewhere, we can go ahead and connect those signals. So I guess I'll actually make a little thing here that does this. So we'll make a new scene, make a 2D scene, call this world, okay? And I'll go ahead and save this. Go up. Okay, say signals from code, okay, and then we'll hit save. And then, yeah, I need to find something I can spawn here that has signals. But so I'll make. So you shouldn't have to add a script to the node you're spawning because you should be able to do that from here. So for instance, like, let's go find a player. Here's a good one, or not. Okay, let's go to editable children. This is like by far not the best way to do this. Can't operate nodes from a foreign scene. All right, fine. We'll do it this way. Copy. Paste it there. Okay, now we've got this player scene. And what nodes is... Oh, there's mouse. That's dope. I didn't... That's so sick. I don't think this was there until 3.3, but now on collision objects, you can do mouse entered, mouse exited. That is so nice. That makes me want to start working on my tower defense game again because I had to do a lot of sketchy stuff to work around not being able to do that by adding control nodes to everything. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so draw, blah, blah, blah. So the way we would do this, like, let's say I want to spawn a bunch of enemies in here. Color. Let's do this. So this was one where I made an enemies. Let's open that up, make sure that this is gonna work. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna make something to spawn those guys. So I'll make var enemy underscore tscn equals preload enemy, okay, and then I'll make a quick little function here. So say function spawn enemy, okay, and then we'll do var enemy underscore ins equals enemy scene dot instance. And then we'll say add child enemy underscore instance. Okay. And yeah, for right now I'm not going to put that, but so we can connect any signal from the enemy here in this code to whichever node we have access to. So I have a question about blah blah blah, which are instance spawned to a scene by code. What is the best practice to do so? So now we would do. You could make it from that enemy if you wanted. Like for instance, like if I've got something I want to connect it to here, so I've got a enemy here, and I'll make a new signal. So we'll say signal enemy underscore died. Okay, actually we don't need that. I'll put this at the bottom here, and then when it's dead, we'll say emit underscore signal enemy died. Okay. Oh, I don't have no way to kill these enemies right now. I need to make a way to kill these guys real quick. I have Okay, on body area entered, and then I think it's dying. If body.collisionLayer is not equal to body.modulate equals self.modulate. Why did I do that? Fine, we'll see right now. But so I'm gonna go here, say function ready, underscore ready. And then we'll do spawn enemy. Okay. And then here what we'll do is we'll do connect, and then we'll say, now you could do this several ways. We could connect one of our signals to it, or we could say enemy instance, enemy underscore ins dot connect, and now this should give us some of the codes from there. So we want to say enemy underscore died, okay, self, and then here we would say, like, I don't know, on enemy underscore died, okay, this should be that, and I'll quickly just make that function here, okay, and then we'll say print enemy underscore died. Cool. All right, and so that's how I do that, right? Is like we've got this function, we create an instance, and then so from, we're doing this from this script, right? From the world script, and it is spawning the enemy. So thus we can do enemy instance.connect that to that. And if you have access to the player, you can, again, you can just change this to be like that node. So for instance, if I want to grab whatever that is, I can say, you know, get children.get node player, or we can just do this like, we can do this player, right? And then we can connect this signal to that one, to this guy. If he has this function, then that will work, right? All right, and so yeah, that's essentially how you do this. You shouldn't have to add that because you can connect it from other nodes. When should you use load versus preload? Essentially, you should always try and use preload. The only time I would not use, well here, let's really quickly, let me finish this. To wrap it all up here, right now what's going to happen is when the enemy dies, it's going to be connected to this. So even though the enemy is going to be spawned like this, it will be connected here, and you can see there's nothing in the enemy script that connects the signal. It just emits the signal, right? And you can do that, right, with like a built-in timer or something like that. You can spawn a new timer and just like connect that signal. You know, connect like timer.new, timer.connect, signal timeout to self, and then on some function. And you can do it that way, and that will work. Right now, I don't think I can kill the enemy. Let's do collision. Okay, let's see if this, oh, and then I want to move the player over here. Can I kill him? No, it's not gonna let me kill him. I don't know how to make that guy die, but anyway, yeah. It's connected. I guess you just have to take my word for it, but I don't really want to figure that out right now because that's not the point. This will work. This will connect that signal. Yeah. Okay. Once you use load versus preload, you should basically, like I said, you should always use preload when you can. Preload, essentially what preload does, and I explained this in my last scene instancing video, is that, so this is the path, right? This tells you where this file is. It tells you nothing about the file whatsoever. It just says like, oh, this is at this location in your file system. Preload or load goes to that and loads it into, or creates basically an instance from that, whatever file is at that location. Preload, what this does is literally, like right now in the editor, before you even run your game, what this has done is it's gone to this path and it's created an object in virtual space, or at least it has now all the information about whatever is at that path. When you use load, you don't do that until it is runtime. So for most things, it's not gonna make a massive difference, but for some things, it is very important or very beneficial to use preload because you don't have to spend any kind of processing resources loading a script at runtime. The only time I would recommend loading a script at runtime rather than using preload is when you're changing what's actually in that file, which is a pretty complex thing that you probably won't do for the majority of people. Like, I'm doing it in kind of a weird, obscure way where I am allowing in the editor, I'm making an app. It's pretty meta, but here, I'll just show you. Go to Godot code, Godot gamepad, plugin, and then open up this project. This one. Okay, so right here, so the reason I say it's meta, so for instance, right here, this is the pause button. And so when I click load button style, so right now I make the button style and I can change it. And then right here, I would click load button style and then I'd go in here and choose one. Now I've coded all of this. I coded this thing, the delete button. If you click this, it does, you know, it pulls up this directory here and stuff like that. And so when I go down here, where is it? Cut button style boxes. If I click this, this is going to load this information at runtime, because until runtime, we don't know which one we want to load. You will always know. I guess that's actually, I guess, the easiest heuristic. If you know which file you're going to load before the game starts, you should use a preload. If you don't know which file you want loaded until the game starts, then use a load. But a lot of times, if I have like 3 files, then I'll just preload all those files rather than load which one I want at runtime. So yeah, it's up to you. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but basically use preload whenever possible, and you really only want to use load. If you don't know, like for instance, exactly what's happening here is that like I might change the style. So I might go and change the border thickness to be like 3 on all these guys. And if I do something like that, then, you know, yeah. Changing the self to player, but I can't figure it out. Follow up to that, the enemy I have instancing the item is queued free, so I would need to connect it to the player instead of self. Okay, let's check this out. Okay. Follow up to that. The enemy I have instancing the item is queued free, so I would need to connect it to the player instead of self. What would I change in the connect to do this? I'm assuming changing the self to player, but can't figure it out. Yeah, so you need to have access to the player somehow. So the way I typically do this is I make a global script, this, and it has a var player 2D or var player, right? And then it equals null. You can just ignore that. So var player equals null. And then what I do is I go into, it says you need a global script, otherwise it won't work. Project settings, auto load, and then you just, here it is, globals. We go and we select whatever script it is that says globals here, and then click add. And because I've added this script, this means that I can access the script from any script in the game. So in the ready function of the player, what I'll do is say func underscore ready globals. Why is that not working? Globals, there we go. Player equals self, okay? And now any enemy or whatever can access the player from the script there. So the way you would do that is, where am I doing this? Right here. So essentially, this, let's see, how do I explain this? So this, whatever this is the function that is receiving the signal. This, whatever is .connect, is what is sending the signal. So in this case, the enemy is sending the enemy died signal to self, and then this is the function on self. So in your case, yeah, you would change, in this case, this would be player. So in my case, I would do globals.player, right? And then I would have to make sure that that exists in player, right? That we have a function this. that exists in player, right? Otherwise, it won't work. Okay. But yeah. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, again, so this is the heuristic is like this is what it's. This is the sender. This is the receiver. Always. And then, you can connect them in any script you want, right? But and it doesn't matter. So you can the receiver can connect the signal from the sender, and the sender can connect the signal from the receiver. The sender can connect its own signal to a receiver, like any possible combination. But if the enemy instance is the one emitting the signal enemy died, it must be here, and that must be there, and then self is that. Anyway. Yeah, awesome, dude. Hope that helps. Again, yeah, the only complicated part I feel like, well, one is understanding that basic hierarchy, but two is that you need to have access to the player. But after that, that's pretty. I don't know. I think signals seem really complicated. Or at least they did to me when I started out, but now they just seem so intuitive. I don't know. Hopefully, when I teach them, they make more sense than the people who taught me, because I felt very lost. Okay. All right. If anyone else has got some questions, I'll happily take those. I think I'm going to probably try and answer one more question, and then I might be all ready to head out for today. Stop on ice after it's played. The gravity of the game accumulates. By definition, that's how gravity works. Quick question, when you have many, say 10 buttons, do you prefer to connect each of their signals to a controller or to do something with the code to avoid manual clicking? Okay, GUI question, when you have many 10 buttons, do you prefer to connect each of their signals to a controller or do... I don't understand what you mean. So like you mean you would like manually be clicking mouse entered, mouse exited, all those things? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, I think I see what you're saying. Yes. So let me actually open up one of my other projects here. This is a calendar app I'm making. So what I'll actually do here is this the right? I don't think this is the right scene, but you can see if I open this up, we've got the calendar here. And a lot of these things have signals connected to them. Like, so for instance, actually, every single one of these horizontal lines, you can see right here, there's no horizontal lines, but when I run the game, there's horizontal lines. Every single one of these horizontal lines has a script, and it is being connected when it spawns. So I think we need to go to calendar, no, not event. Wait, is this the right one? Oh, this is the right one. Okay. So I think it's this one. So yeah, I would prefer to do it in code. So you can see that here, I think, where am I doing it? Where am I connecting? Connecting that, but timeline scene. Oh, maybe, oh yeah, I used to do it that way. But anyway, yeah, I would, if I've got 10 buttons, you can go through and connect a signal by doing, like, for instance, like this. You can do like, for child in get underscore children, and then you could check, like, if child is control, if child is control, then we can say like child dot connect, I don't know, yeah, focus entered, whatever, to self. And I definitely would prefer to do it that way, and I have in the past. But there are also things where I do just do it manually, because it's just, I don't know, it depends. Like, there's one thing on here, go to here, I connected all these signals manually, I think. Right? Or did I connect? is it this one? Where is it? This one? This one? I could have sworn I connected like a bunch of signals manually somewhere. Oh, it was this, but I changed it. But yeah, I mean, like, so for this, for instance, I did do it manually, but yeah, if you've got a lot, I would definitely do it in code. I think that's the better way to do it. Yeah, but I do all the time, do a lot of manual clicking, and my shortcut is that, like, I'll click this and then double hit the enter button. The other thing great about doing it that way is, like, these all have different names, obviously, and like, let's say I want all of them to affect the same, like, you know, function here, like refresh sizing, let's say. Then it's much easier to do that in code. But yeah. Yeah. Yep. I hate doing it by hand when you've got more than just like one thing to do, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah. I want to check if there's anything really interesting. Oh. I'm gonna not answer. Those are all true. Oh, yes. Okay. How would I put a slight delay on camera 2D? Nope. If kids can code answered that, then he's better. Well, let's see. I saw a previous question about how to make the camera follow the player, but with a delay, giving a bit of a bouncy look. The answer was to use an interpolated camera, but that's 3D. I haven't found. Yeah, I mean, I would not do that. I would do certainly. He actually did put a very complex answer, and what you can do is just simply, if we add, for instance, a camera 2D here. You can just go to, so drag center, yes. Then we'll put drag margin H enabled, yes and yes. And then I think we should be able to go like view, is it camera, view, show helpers. Why can't we see it? Zoom, process mode, limits. There we go. And then we can set the limits. So we can say left to 100. Oh, what? Am I tripping? Oh, maybe it's not limits. Smoothing, offset. Oh, there we go. Drag margin. That's what we want. Why can't I see the drag margin? You should be able to see it. I don't know why I can't. Huh. It's odd. But anyway, yeah, so now, oh, we want to go. Oh, now it's chasing me. Oh, because I set myself as globals.player. Oh, but this is not that. That's a big reason why. And this is also the enemy, which we don't want. Let's do this. Do this. Let's add a camera node here. Okay. And then want that on the player. We'll put current to on. Drag margin H enabled. That enabled. And I still don't know why that's not happening, but. Yeah, but now you can see that the camera is not, well, it'd be nice if I had, but the camera is only moving once I like come past a certain amount. Now, the way you would solve exactly what you're talking about is I would do, for instance, you turn smoothing on. Where is it? Smoothing, click enabled, right? And then we can set these all to 0. And then now when we move it, it'll trail behind it and then kind of like bounce, you know, like that, you see? Yeah, so that's probably the best way to do that. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way. So I'm gonna go ahead and post that right here. If this is what you are talking about, but you can set drag margin enabled on a camera 2D, then 0, and then turn smoothing on. Turn smoothing on. Okay. I went over. Actually, put it like I did my other ones. Answer this live on stream. Okay. Should be. What time is it? 2 minutes. Should be around 2 hour 25 minutes or so. Okay, cool. All right, so quickly you can't really see what's going on here, so I want to just kind of add some sprites, and we'll add icon. Do those. Cool. Duplicate these guys, a few of these guys, so you can see what the heck's going on here, just for some visual reference, and then I kind of want to pause this from happening. So you can see that it snaps. So it passes me and then it snaps up like whatever you'd want. So it's kind of a little bouncy. And what you can do here is you can go to the camera and we can change the speed of this to be slower or faster. So if we set it to 1, see what happens, that it like slowly comes over to me, right? So it's automatically lerping. We can also set this to be like double the speed and much faster. So you can do something like this. So then like, it's like much more snappy, and then you can play around with stuff like this. Like you can make the margins go like this, and then it'll only start like that. Then it's barely like you even have smoothing on at that point. But yeah. I don't know. So it depends what you want. You can also change the speed during code, so you can make this like kind of change exponentially. Lots of different ways that you can mess around with that. This is probably what I think you're looking for, is something like that. And I prefer to do this a lot. So it's essentially the margin is 0. So the second you start moving, it's going to start trying to smooth over to your position, and it bounces over to you like that, which I think is a nice effect. Anyway, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's see. I think I might be done. Yeah, I'll finish my tea. That'll be done. Can you add collisions to a line? Draw a line function. Yes, but you will have to make your own collision and replace it with a line. Lines do not have a collision on their own. A solid question. I am going to open up one of my old projects here. Oh no, it's solenoid. So it's the Godot jam. Project files. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why I put the doorway area in there. Okay, project. Okay, and then laser. Okay. Okay, so essentially what it is the laser right here, it will find the point that is across from here. Like if this collision collides here, it'll draw the line to there, and then it will make a collision shape that extends from here to wherever that point is on the line. So yeah, our call point is where it's a collision point. Okay, shape extends.x, just have a rotation. Okay, call shape dot shape equals shape, and then shape equals. Okay, so this is all we need to do for that. So I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'll post that in here. Yes, here is a called snippet that I use to basically do that, except with a raycast and line 2D node. The principle is the same. Okay, let's do this. And then I need to modify the code a little bit. So var collision point equals raycast. Okay, collision point laser dot points. Okay, and then just to make this less confusing, collision shape. So this should be dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 da. Should be. There we go. Oh no. Okay, cool. No, why is it not? There we go. Okay. Boom. All right, cool. Anyway, that's how you do that. All right. I know how to enable camera draw margins on screen. You have to go to camera properties editor and just check what you need. Ah, let's check that out. Camera properties, should be in here. Anchor mode. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Oh, but yeah, that's why, because it was drag margins. Perfect. I don't know why that's not enabled by default. Anyway, yes, that's handy. Dope. Thanks, man. I actually did know that, but I totally forgot, so that's good to know. Yeah, okay. Okay. Maybe one more. I'm not addicted. How to use and in if statement. I don't know, I feel like that's confusing me because you're like, yeah, I made a 3D first person game, which I can't even do right now, but then you're like, I also don't understand how if statements work. That's like, I'm like, I have no idea where your skill level lies. But yeah, I get the screenshot of game. How do I paint a tile map, different colors, using visual spatial material editor like the visual shader editor. Slight delay. How does Godot work? I'm actually interested. Let's see. Actually does the calculations between frames. How does it keep track? Interesting. Can you add collisions to a line? Change raw modulation in code. Draw function problem. I want to pick up all items. Does that mean every single item must have code in it? How can I override a method of a variable? A method of a variable. German box. I don't know. I'm running out of steam here. If you guys have any questions, I might be done because I'm not seeing any great ones that seem fun to answer. Share the common materials of imported models. Where is it going? Template download file to. How do I enable and disable the interpolated camera by using a button? Different animation. Where's the mouse coordinate input in visual scripting? How do I check if a process is true? Don't use visual scripting. How to check if a process is true? My question is probably most recent one on the list. Shader versus spatial material if you fancy having a crack at it. Oh yeah, I don't know anything about 3D, honestly. Material registering is spatial code, but shader engine. Yeah, I don't think I could help you with that, honestly. Sorry, man. I don't know that much about shaders. I barely can write my own. I usually just modify ones I get from the Godot shaders, so I probably can't help you too much in that regard. Let's see what you have here. I've got a 3D model with many meshes, which I originally imported. Materials, blah, blah. I decided to change many of the mesh instances. Avoid starting from scratch. I made a new model for the mesh in question, export from Blender, blah, blah, blah. Relevant mesh instance. The new mesh has 3 surface materials. The issue, even though the mesh's surface materials are shader material in the editor and in remote during runtime, and are rendered as the desired shader material in the game, when addressed in code, it returns a spatial material. That is to say, print object meshes that get material 0 return spatial material. Interesting. Obviously, foo throws an error, no function shader parameter. That's weird. That is very odd that it's returning a spatial material. Although it does make sense to me that it is a spatial material, I'm more confused why it even says shader material, but I'm confused why, if it says shader material in the editor, that it's going to return this in code. But yeah, that is pretty odd. I'm sorry. Why do you need to get the point? Are you just trying to solve this because it's interesting? Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure that this seems like the kind of thing that has to do with exporting in Blender or something like that I'm just not aware of because I don't do 3D. I've only used like a very small amount of 3D and shaders and stuff like that. So I'm sure someone will answer your question though, because I think this has to be something that's relatively common. So yeah, sorry about that, but this will definitely get asked. Or I mean answered, sorry. Kids Can Code will probably help you out there. Because it looks like he's active today. Node parenting rules, interesting. Anyway, yeah. So sorry about that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I might be back this week with a little more dev of me making the Godot gamepad and stuff like that. I don't really have any just like regular videos planned, honestly. I don't have any like things I really want to make. I was gonna do like bullets in Godot and a bunch of different cool ways I found that you can make bullets, like heat-seeking missiles and crazy stuff like that. But I don't know. I've kind of like lost steam on that, and I kind of want to just build these things and live stream that. I'm going to be trying to do these Godot Q&A things at least once a week. So, although I'll need to take like a 1 month break when I go back to California, but I'll do my best to try and be active during that time. But yeah, if you want to join my Discord, I'll go ahead and throw that link back in here again. Invite people. Copy. Okay. I heard there's indeed weird compatibility issues between Godot and Blender shaders. Yeah, I have also heard that. Like that I've seen. There was some guy talking about how to import them. I totally forgot, but he went through every single possible like export option for Blender and showed like what they do in Godot and like which one he prefers and like how they work and stuff like that. I don't know how helpful it is that I'm just talking about it, but yeah. Wait, let's go see what this is. I'm interested. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, anyway, so I'll try and schedule these streams ahead of time. I'll post them in my stream here and on the Godot Discord here. So go ahead and join the Discord if you're interested. Again, if you have questions you want me to answer before the stream, put them in the questions thing here, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Subscribe and all that good stuff, you know, whatever floats your boat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the stream up for just a little bit so you guys can chat in the chat, because it seems like we've got some smart people in here and maybe you guys can help each other. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.